Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? All right. Hello. I'm Jackie Azis. I am your League of Women Voters of the St. Petersburg area president. It is my third term, and it is an honor to serve you as president. It is so nice to see so many familiar faces and new faces. Welcome to everyone. I hope you were able to visit some of our tables in the back of our committees and teams that are doing great work. We're also going to have time at the end. We'll have about 20 minutes at the end of the meeting to go back and visit with the tables if you didn't get to talk to everyone you wanted to. So this is our first all-member general meeting of the league year. We officially started our league year on May 1st. And at that time, that's when our program started with all of our teams and our new board took office. And so every year we plan to have 3 all-member general meetings, and this is the first of those. And I'm just so glad to have you. A couple of housekeeping. The restrooms are around the corner that way. And then if you want snacks or water, we have those in the back, right outside in the lobby when you come in. We have a packed agenda tonight. And okay, here we go. This is our agenda. First, we're going to talk about the member survey that went out that you all saw in April and filled out. We're going to have a quick rundown of what happened at the leadership strategic planning. And then I'm excited about this one. There is a proposed new team, the social justice team. Woo-woo. And then after that, we're going to have a Florida legislative session wrap up from Amy Keith. Where are you, Amy? Hey. And then a convention recap by Sarah. And finally, just a couple of announcements and upcoming events. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to our membership chair, Amy Weintraub, to talk about the membership survey results.
And joining me is membership committee member Emily Fletty. And we're going to be, as Jackie said, we're going to be talking with you about the member survey that was being pushed out in late February, March, and April, and so many of you responded, and we really, really appreciate it.
Well, we developed a member survey to better understand the experience of our members, and the member survey results are being used for planning and to improve our practices as a league. This was the first member survey conducted in 5 years. The survey was open for approximately a month in the spring of 2025, and through email outreach announcements at in-person meetings, and we were able to secure 135 responses, which is almost a quarter of our current membership, which is a really good outcome. This presentation will cover a detailed information about demographics, membership, experience, engagement, and communications. At a high level, the majority of respondents said they would recommend the league to a friend, that they felt heard in our league, and that those who participated in league events and activities reported that they had a positive experience. We are well regarded by those members who responded to the survey, so that's great news. To better understand the makeup of our membership, we asked responders about their age, race, ethnicity, gender, and work status. Overall, our respondents skewed older, with 64% of them being over the age of 60. We did not have any respondents under the age of 30. This, of course, does not mean that we don't have any members under the age of 30, just that they did not respond to the survey. With future surveys, it would be wise to consider different tactics to make sure that we get more members under 60 to complete the survey. Nearly all those completing the survey identified as women. We did offer options for trans, non-binary, but they were not selected by any of our respondents. Nearly all of those completing the survey, the vast majority of respondents identified as white, though we had very few respondents, had a few that indicated that they had other race and ethnicities. Our members who are retirees made up half of our respondents, with those employed making up 42%.
So to better understand the makeup of our membership, we asked people about their membership experience. And in this first question, we wanted to understand why members joined the league originally. And the top 3 things that drew members to the league were, and by the way, these 3 things outranked all of the others by far. Number one was the opportunity to advocate on issues. Number two, the opportunity to connect with people who are engaged in and connected to the community. And number three, because they thought the league made a difference. So the top three things, maybe your reason is among these. So we know that this means that members are seeking both advocacy opportunities and the ability to connect with others, people who are doing effective things and who are like-minded. Regarding the other responses that didn't rank in these top three, they noted specific focus areas, like they wanted to be involved with voting, or they wanted to be involved with the Tropicana redevelopment, that sort of thing. It's worth noting that in the future, when we're asking about experience that people are having, that we would that we would ask them to reflect a little more expansively on why they joined the league, just so that we could have a deeper view. Almost everyone who responded to the survey said that they felt heard in the league. And that is very positive. As the membership chair, that's of course the kind of answer I wanted. The comments section here did not really illuminate why someone would have said no, that they weren't heard. A handful of people, though, said they just weren't sure if their voices were heard because they were new or they weren't that involved. In the next question, what will keep you renewing your membership? We asked people to choose as many options as they wanted. And then the top three things that we know will keep people renewing are, based on your responses, continued or more voter education, voter protection, and voter empowerment opportunities. Number two, continued or more community engagement opportunities. And number three, continued or more short-term project-based volunteer opportunities. And that's as opposed to longer-term opportunities, longer-term commitments. And you're going to see this repeated in the other parts of the survey. Respondents also indicated that they want more social interaction. Note that 1 out of 5 members did welcome long-term volunteer opportunities. Thank goodness, because we need committee chairs, and we need board members and all of that traditional stuff. 15% said they were interested in leadership development, so that's fantastic. So check out how these responses are from people for whom when meetings are held really matters. Over a quarter indicated that if we have meetings in the evening, they will continue renewing, whereas 15% indicate a preference for weekends and 10% for weekday hours. So it is clear that for some of our respondents, for some of our members, when we have a meeting will make a difference about whether they're going to come or not. And though it's not indicated on the slide for space reasons, 8% of respondents indicated that childcare during meetings is a draw and will make a difference as to whether they come or not. And by the way, childcare is provided tonight. So that's some of you are here because of that. Highlights and themes from the 12% of people who made comments in this question were that people want to continue to support the league or stay informed, and they have a desire for action and impact. So they want to be in the field actually doing things. One respondent stated that they believe the league should offer some kind of leadership development training. That was great to hear because we have now started a league leadership program which actually just launched last night. And so that we have 8 people in that cohort, new emerging leaders, and we will hopefully continue that program and have a new cohort starting next spring. Sorry?
Were they younger people?
So most of them are young. Yes, they are younger than me. So I'm 50. I just turned 57. They were all younger than me. Some of them were significantly younger than me. How does the league demonstrate it is a welcoming community or not? Has it been easy for you? Think about you, yourself. Has it been easy for you to acclimate and become involved? So this was an open-ended question, and I'll tell you the good news first. Many of the comments talked about the ways that the league has made it easy for them to get involved, and they cited things like the welcoming spirit of our members and excellent communication, and then events like cocktails and conversations that we have every month and new member orientations. So that's great. The new member outreach that's done by board members and team leads in the membership committee, where we make phone calls or text or set up coffee dates for new members. That was mentioned as excellent in some comments too. Now, suggested areas of improvement. Those you said ensure that we need to ensure that there's consistency in how new members are welcomed, particularly by team leads and committee chairs. So tonight, you know, we're having these tables because we want to welcome you if you're new, and we're trying to find new ways that you might be able to meet us. Several respondents stated that they would like to better understand what each committee does so they can determine if they want to get involved. A handful of people indicated that they'd like to see increased diversity. And some respondents noted that while the league is welcoming, that if you're shy or an introverted person and you don't know a lot of people, that it can be intimidating or challenging to break in. We also asked folks to rank the activities and issues that our league's teams tackle in order of importance to them personally, and we then scored these rankings based on the percentage of people in first and second and so on, and the results are weighted, similar to ranked choice voting. And here are the results.
Yay, ranked choice voting.
According to the survey, members are most concerned about number 1, election and voter protection. Awesome. Closely tied for third or second are the reproductive rights and the voter guide, and these by far were the largest areas of concern. I think I missed one. Voter registration was second. So no surprise. We're the League of Women Voters. No surprise that voter protection and voter registration would be at the top. We always say this is the heart of the league. This is the work that we do. This is what we were built for. And so no surprise about that, but it's interesting to see the other areas. And here are the rankings of the other activities: candidate forums, then education, speakers bureau, and National Popular Vote Interstate Compact. All of them got substantial, like people are excited to see these as part of our program. We asked 3 other questions in this section, and the results are that almost all respondents said that they have increased their knowledge on issues since becoming a member. That's great. The vast majority indicated that they felt the league is providing enough volunteer and educational opportunities. 78% of respondents said that they would recommend the league to a friend or a colleague. This question's on a scale of 1 to 10, like how likely it is you'd recommend the league to a friend or college. So 78% indicated that they gave us a score of 9 or 10. So that's really, really great. 18% of the respondents here indicated a more neutral ranking of only 7 to 8. Only 4% of our respondents said that they gave a score of 6 or lower when it came to how likely they would be to recommend a friend.
Okay, in this section, we asked participants about their experience participating in both activities and in specific issue or committee work. The majority of responses indicated a great or okay experience, and let's look at some of other response data about engagement. Notice location and timing were the top 3 items for members' ability to stay connected. Obviously, we got to know about them, have availability, and be able to get there. Virtual options came in 4th, and this was also reflected in the comments. Nearly half of respondents indicated that the substance of events was important. A third of respondents indicating the social atmosphere and accessibility makes a difference. As mentioned earlier, 8% indicated that childcare is important. The top 3 League of Women Voters communications methods ranked most effective were weekly update every Sunday morning, the monthly newsletter, and direct email messages. The preference for and quality of the League's email communications were also reflected in the comments of other questions. After email, texting was also noted as an effective form of communication. Okay, so this was on a scale of 1 to 10. Also, Instagram and Twitter or X were on the list, but ranked low. So Instagram was below 3, and Twitter/X was 1. In asking about specific empowering voters and defending democracy activities, we asked the open-ended question, what would have made your experience better? Some common themes emerged. Many members said that they simply did not have the time to participate, but that they supported the league in its work. And this is, of course, beyond our control. However, some other comments may be worth exploring, including those about enhancing engagement and communication, increasing our advocacy work, making it easier to participate. And as we count on fundraising to make up more than 70% of our budget, we asked respondents to rank the League of Women Voters in terms of its priority in their personal giving. 40% of the respondents indicated a ranking of 8 to 10. Only 13% indicated a score lower than 5.
So the following slides are just going to have some paraphrased comments from the final section where people were asked if anything else they'd like to share. There were some cool things. Many people said that they appreciated the league and its work, and there were some diverse opinions regarding the topics that we should work on. For example, some folks think that we should focus only on voting and voting-related things. Others say we must continue educating on issues. Some say that we shouldn't take a stance on those issues, and other people say that's the reason that they're here. Some people say we should increase our advocacy, and especially our defending democracy work, as democracy and our Constitution are under attack at the highest levels. Some expressed interest in increasing this work and said that they would be willing to participate in a focus group or an action team on this. We also had some folks saying that they wanted to attend the state convention, and we followed up with them, and they came. And you'll hear more about that later. Many people said that they appreciated that we were doing the survey, and at this point, I would just like to say thank you to all of you who participated. Just a few more comments that I thought you might be interested in. People talked about increasing communication with new members, helping people understand how they might participate. If they're short on time, they're busy, career women, they are busy at home, they're busy with other things in their life, they don't have a lot of time, but they want to help. How can they do that? Again, increasing the diversity of our membership was brought up, and better understanding what's happened with the National League taking over membership dues collection. Some people were curious about that. We also had people expressing interest in some of the statewide meetings that happen around the year. At least one person said that she was concerned, or they were concerned, that we don't do enough work south of Central Avenue or in South St. Petersburg, which shows that we could be more effective in sharing just how much work we do there. In fact, some people would argue that voter services' primary focus is in South St. Petersburg, but maybe our membership doesn't know that. And they also may not know the depth of the community partnerships that we have with communities in South St. Pete. Many members appreciated that the league was conducting the survey. And that is it.
And if you do have any questions, the membership committee will be at their table at the end. So thank you so much for that thorough explanation, and to all of you who filled out our survey. And so that actually leads perfectly into the leadership's strategic planning meeting that we had. So we received these survey results, and then the first weekend in May, all of the team leads, the committee member leads, and the board met. And we used this time at the strategic planning meeting to decide not the program priorities, but kind of more the administrative priorities that we're going to focus on for the coming year. And we used to have this strategic planning meeting in August, but we learned last year and we discussed that by August, the voter services team is like in the middle of their year, right? They've already started. So to have strategic planning in August just really doesn't make sense for our work. So we made the decision to move strategic planning to May, to the beginning of our league year. So we took the survey results and we met and we came up with 3 priorities that are strategic priorities, not program priorities. And you can see that here, and you'll probably notice some of the themes that came from the survey results we noted. So we have advocacy and engagement, promoting short-term advocacy projects. Secondly, communications, improving our communications to improve member engagement. And lastly, some just administrative things that we thought would improve, like the leadership and membership communication more. And Lindsay Palega, who's our vice president on the board, is going to go into more detail on these 3 priority areas.
Hi, everyone. I got the fun stuff. I get to talk about admin with you, so thanks, Jackie. For those of you who don't know me, this is my first time on the board, vice president. You probably are more familiar with me in my role on the Repro committee. I'm a co-chair with Steph Sumbler there, so if you have interest in Repro, come find me afterwards. So our advocacy and engagement goals, we talked a lot about how we could provide membership with better opportunities to participate in short-term advocacy events. And I think you're going to see in some of our upcoming events at the very end of this presentation that the team leads, committee leads, and board members are working really hard to try to pinpoint those events and find them for you. One that I think probably, I hope everyone in the room is familiar with if you're paying attention to the weekly and our social and everything else we're pushing out. We're walking with Planned Parenthood this weekend at the Pride Parade, so I hope that you'll join us at that. We've been sending out things more on a piecemeal basis as events get brought to us or volunteer opportunities and sending them out immediately and trying to, send them out as many times as possible without being a nuisance to your inbox. I know we're getting 4,000 emails apiece right now. So we're implementing this by creating projects. We'll continue to communicate them through the email channels and our social and through team leads. Try to identify who the team leads are tonight if you don't already know them. Get familiar on our website. And don't be afraid to come talk to us. I promise most of us took on these team lead roles because we like engaging with our members and we have exciting opportunities that we want to present to you. And obviously, we are going to try to push them even further into your laps, but don't be afraid to come up to us either. I'm happy to hand off any number of projects your way. So, in terms of communications, I hope that you've also started to see that our social media feeds have been revamped in the last couple of weeks. We have a new social media person volunteering their time with us. We have a whole communications team working together. They'll be meeting in the next couple of months to talk about how to more effectively get information not just to our members, but out to our community. You might have seen some really cool Instagram reels going out. They're also being posted on Facebook if you're not on Instagram. But I know that was only 4% of you that said that was the most effective method. But I think part of it was that some of us were not very effective at content creation. We're trying to get better at that. And those of us who are wordy lawyers will stick to putting words in newsletters for you. I hope you'll enjoy. So, we'll continue to create those. We're also hoping to encourage more from our members in communications. If you're interested in a short-term project, something that might be interesting to you would be a letter to an editor or an opinion editorial to go in one of our local newspapers or even through our own league publications, local, statewide, nation, all of those things. And then we also already have really great community partnerships with our news organizations, and I know we probably haven't advertised that to our members. So just so you know, again, if there's a story that you think needs to come to the news and you don't know how to get it there, other than reaching out directly to the news source, the league already has those partnerships developed, and we're continuing to develop them all the time. So approach one of the board members or a team lead if there's something you think needs to get out into the community. Admin, here's the fun stuff. So we've got all of these process improvements going on in the background. We want to make sure that both our board members and team leads have access to all of our important updated documents and resources. There's really the behind the scenes stuff that's a little boring, but there is a treasure trove of documents from many years of board members before us. And you're stepping into someone else's job and someone else's work. It's all out there for us to get into, and we're trying to better implement processes so not only we can access that information, but so that upcoming and incoming board members know how to step into these roles right away and effectively start working as part of the team. So we'll have a new leader training at the beginning of every league year. We'll have Google Drive training for our leaders. We'll be able to provide board meeting minutes to our members, and then we'll also be informing members on how to join the board and team lead meetings via our newsletters, which is something we haven't done in the past. And with that, someone gets to talk about a really fun initiative, and that is our proposal for a social justice committee.
All right. Robin and Carla, if you can head up. Thank you, Lindsay. Okay, so some of you may be asking, wait, didn't we decide our program back in February when we do program planning? Yes, but our bylaws allow for us to add a program should conditions change. And we think, since we had program planning in February, that the situation has changed and that we are on the forefront of the defending democracy work. Our National League has said that this is a league priority. And we have found that immigration is a huge priority for many members and our community. So with that, I want to hand it over to Robin and Carla to discuss the proposed social justice team, which is in response to the membership and the community wanting these issues to be part of our program.
Okay, thanks. Hi, I'm Robin.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I have one more thing to add. There's a process for it. Tonight is the first vote. We're going to be handing out, Susan in the back has what is the scoring matrix to get this as part of the program to move to a second vote at our next all-member meeting. The team needs 30 out of 50 points on average. So we'll pass those out. We're going to ask that you all score the team after you've heard the presentation. We'll have about 7 minutes of a presentation, a couple minutes for questions, and then do your scoring and turn it in to either me or Susan at the end, or Amy in the back at the end of the meeting. And with that, just so you know, tonight is the first vote. The second vote will be at our next all-member meeting, September 4th. Anyways, okay, now, sorry about that, Robin, go ahead.
That's okay, hi. Okay, so hi, I'm Robin.
I'm Carla.
Carla. And I'm supposed to announce before we start that you can use this QR code to see our presentation. I don't know how you do that, but Carla probably knows.
I think most of the people with their phones out now.
Okay, good. So first I want to start by thanking Stacy Croto, who led the social justice team for I don't know how long, but did an amazing job, and thank you. We're going to try and fill those shoes. So I want to first, real quickly, the purpose of the social justice team. The social justice team is committed to defending democratic values, educating the public on critical issues such as immigration and racial justice, and advocating for equitable redevelopment in St. Petersburg. We intend to mobilize community action through campaigns like the League of Women Voters US Unite 8, Rise 8.5 campaign, better known as protests, foster informed dialogue on urban transformation projects such as the Reimagine 175, and inform people of their rights regarding immigration, and build consensus around responsible redevelopment of the gas plant site. We will also collaborate on other social justice issues as they arise, such as DEI and LGBTQ work. Through a blend of advocacy and education, we will empower residents to engage in shaping a more just and participatory local democracy. It's important that we are aligned with League US and state League goals. So we will talk about that for just 1 minute. The League of Women Voters US is certainly very active in the areas of defending democracy, ensuring representative government, social policy, equality of opportunity, and immigration issues. Can I take that?
Yeah, sure. So as Jackie kind of alluded to, immigration has sort of been in the forefront of the last election cycle and is still pretty heavy in the news. We want to partner with some of the league resources to make sure that we are, providing information and training on the complexity of this issue. All right. So there's a lot of partners. Folks like Robin and Jackie and Stacy have done a really good job of connecting with the community. I'm not going to read all of them out, but we do already have a lot of established channels and a lot of people willing to work with us, different groups in the community that we're ready to partner with if you guys are ready to vote for us. Okay. I can read this out like an announcer, or I can just kind of give you the highlights. So Robin shared some of the redevelopment work, some of the Unite and Rise and Reimagine I-75, as well as some of the work she's done with the gas plant district. Stacy's offered us some suggestions on some of the diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives that we want to pursue. We definitely want to do some training on immigrants and know your rights in immigrant training. Jackie shared some contacts with the ACLU and others that we can work with there. So we've got ideas, but we definitely want to hear ideas from everyone who'd like to get involved with us as well. Which takes us to recruitment. So we really want this to be collaborative. We want to hear everyone's ideas. In the back, we've got a board. We'd love it if you'd share with us on a little sticky note what your idea of social justice is, what initiatives you'd like to see us work on this year. If you're interested in getting more information, you can definitely give us your email and phone number. And once this is voted into existence, we can keep in touch with you. But we intend to be communicative through emails, listservs, set up a meeting that would work for the group, so nothing's been established. The main point here is we really want to work together with everyone on this. All right, that's the budget. Any questions?
We're open for questions, if you have any for us. Do we have a microphone that moves? Okay. We might bring you the microphone to make it easier.
I see.
Thank you, Amy.
Just out of curiosity, what is the African American Heritage Trail Bus Tour?
So in St. Petersburg, there is an African American Heritage Tour, and it takes you, I have not done it, which is why I put it on there, because I've been wanting to do it. I believe it's Miss Gwendolyn Reese that runs it, and she gives us like a historical tour of African American heritage in St. Pete specifically. And so we'd like to do that. I think we put 200 or 250, I can't see it from this angle. That would buy tickets for approximately 20 of our members to be able to go on that tour. I see a question in the back.
This may be above our pay grade, but people's rights are getting violated every single day, so knowing your rights doesn't seem to be enough these days. Are there any initiatives to address what's going on with harassment and incarceration of immigrants that we can be a part of?
That is a great question. So one of our proposals was doing an immigration panel. So there were 2 immigration panels that we would like to do. One would be a Know Your Rights panel, and then the second one would be more of an immigration panel from the perspective of like legal practitioners. That is where our connections with the ACLU Florida comes in. I'm blanking on the other names. Amy Keith, help me. Who did we talk about? Flick? There are a few other organizations, direct services attorneys. So we would like to host a panel where attorneys can talk about both federal lawsuits, but also like direct services work and opportunities. There's another organization, Sanctuary of the South, that does direct services throughout Florida. So we will use our connections with these legal entities to talk about these issues. We are not a legal organization as the League of Women Voters, but we have connections to legal organizations, so we can provide a panel on it.
You guys are keeping me moving. Getting my steps in.
So if you get the 30 out of 50 votes tonight to move forward with a second vote, can we fast track the next vote? Because waiting till September seems completely ridiculous.
So it's a 30 out of 50 average, right? And the bylaws require it be done at another all-member meeting. And the bylaws require that. I will say, in the meantime, we are still leading the protests that you see happening once a month. In fact, there's another one scheduled already for July. So that is something that we have already started doing as part of our Defending Democracy work. And in the meantime, the three of us will be at least planning, as soon as this is approved at the next meeting, we'll have things ready to go immediately.
Thank you for your enthusiasm.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I see a couple more questions.
As a fairly new member, I'm not sure if this is off topic or not, but there's also the issue of defending public health with what's going on with the new vaccine directions, which is going on with Medicaid. It's a huge threat to seniors' public health, to children's public health. I don't know if that's something that the league would be willing to look at ways to engage and to educate people and raise its voice.
Yeah, and thank you for that. I think that's a great idea. And the idea is that the work that we do will be driven by the team members. So when you have great ideas, and that was a really good idea, please sign up to be on the team. And we'll certainly discuss that. It's a good idea.
Hey, I was just processing what you all said about information about immigrant rights, and I was just thinking that a panel with lawyers may not get to the people that really need to hear that information. I was thinking more like, is there a way to get tables at a food bank, where people come that are really, really immigrants, that really need that education, but go to the place where they are. That seems to me a way to be more direct and more in tune with the people that need to get that information, right?
One idea we had to address that, and I would love more ideas, please, is we're live streaming this right now, and so we would like to do something similar to that. If we have immigration panels, then we would live stream it and record it so people could watch it later. And if they don't feel safe coming to where it's happening, they can still access it online. So that is one idea we had, and we would be open to any other options and ideas that you have on how to make it more accessible for people.
Yeah, and I want to echo what Robin said. We really want this to be collaborative with our team members. So if you have great ideas like that, please do sign up, and we can bring those ideas forth and discuss as a committee.
Another question/issue. Will there be capability to have all these efforts and initiatives translated into Spanish, which is going to be huge for this population that we're trying to help?
I speak Spanish.
We have used translation services in the past for Zooms, so there's certainly a possibility if the budget was increased. I think I saw a hand here with Journey.
Yeah, just to clarify. So hearing a lot of great ideas about things that we can do. Are those things that we could do within the structure we have currently, and then this is in September we'll have a budget for things? Some of these things, could we just do this in some of our other committees so we don't have to wait? No. Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Some of them kind of fit in with voter services.
We can. The Defending Democracy stuff
Right.
falls under the League of Women Voters project, the 8.5 rise. I got that name wrong, but you know what I'm talking about. So we are going to keep doing the protests and leading those and the defending democracy work. Stuff like immigration, we are going to start planning these things with the hope and assumption that we get approved and at the September meeting, and then we can like jump in right away. But obviously things that fall within like repro or education or voting, like, yeah, we can jump in, or national popular vote. We can jump in on those already.
Hi, I just want to add something to the conversation, and just to be informative as somebody who's an immigrant. Immigrants aren't usually, we don't hang out at food banks. I don't think that that's like proper, like to think that immigrants are at food banks is not a good thing to say. And immigrants speak many, 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 many languages. Yes, predominantly Spanish, but it's also a lot of different languages. And I just want everyone to be very informed. And I know in this room, everybody has a very positive attitude, but I just also want everybody to understand that what you may be thinking is not really, immigrants are hard workers that come to this country. A lot of times very educated because we've had visas and education and things like that. So we struggle, but I just want to make sure everybody understands these things.
Thanks for that comment.
Did you have a hand up? Or were you Stacy? Understood.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we have time for 2 more questions. And then we're going to be at the back at our table, so plenty of time for more questions later.
My question will have a quick response. Are you going to hold monthly meetings or?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think we're going to talk to the group, the team members, and see whether they rather in person or Zoom and how often. So we'd like to, to get the input from all the team members.
But yes, every committee is required, every team is required to have a monthly meeting, so we will.
I think this is the last question.
All right, I'll make it a good one. No. How are you guys structured? Are you like supervising these two, or what's going on?
We're co-chairs. The 3 of us are co-chairs. I think I want to mention this. Thank you for asking. Robin will be probably the main lead. She has a lot of leadership experience within the league. Carla is a brand new member. Hello, Carla. Thank you for stepping up at such an important time. And then because of my role as president, I have other league obligations, but I do want to be a part of this team. So I'll help lead.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Now, Sarah Peacock is going to talk about the convention. This was the League of Women Voters of Florida biannual convention where leagues from all over the state met. And last thing about the social justice, please remember to vote. We need 30 out of 50 on average to make it. Give it to Amy. Susan, where are you? Susan's in the back over there. Or to me on your way out. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, I am not talking about convention, but I think we just got the agenda mixed up. So, hi everybody, my name is Amy Keith, and most of you probably know me and my role on the board here at the League, and I also lead our voter and election protection work. But in my day job, I am the executive director for Common Cause Florida, and had the great joy of spending 2 months in Tallahassee during legislative session this year, and so I'm happy to provide bit of an update. Just to let you know, I'm going to provide the slides. There's more content on the slides than I'm going to say, but you can all go down your little rabbit holes on your own afterward. I'm going to go from the bad news to the good news, because I feel like that's how we need to be. So let's go. So first up, Common Cause Florida, who are we? Basically, we are an organization that is an ally with the League. You can go to the next slide, Amy. And we've been around since 1973, holding the government of Florida accountable. Next slide. And you can see that our mission is actually really aligned with the League, which is why it's so easy to be on the board there and the executive director somewhere else. We do a lot of work on voting and fair representation, anti-corruption ethics, money and politics, media and technology, civil rights and civil liberties. So really looking at democracy from a very holistic perspective of what it takes for people to engage and make our democracy more inclusive. All right, so let's jump in with the legislative update. Here we go. And like I said, I'm going to go fast because I only got 8.5 minutes left. Okay, so first up, the big bad thing that actually happened before legislative session even started. We had a special session that happened in February when an absolutely, in my personal opinion and professional opinion, atrocious immigration bill was passed. Now, one of the big things that we saw with that bill is that it has enabled a lot of the mass deportation that we have seen happening throughout our community. One of those things that it did was it required all state and local agencies to assist in enforcement of federal immigration, which is why we have seen something that we call 287G agreements really proliferating across the state of Florida amongst local police and other local authorities. So this bill, a lot of what we've seen, a lot of the pain we've seen in communities across the state right now actually stems from a bill that was passed during the special session. It did a whole bunch of other terrible things, but I think it's really important to highlight that one of the worst legislative things that happened this year happened in a special session before the regular session even started. Next up, during the regular legislative session, I would say that the worst bill from a democracy perspective was the attack on citizen-led amendments. If you go to that QR code, you can actually find a pretty detailed explainer of everything that happened in that bill. You may have heard about it. You probably sent an email about it. I certainly hope you called about it. The League was very active alongside Common Cause and other allies to fight this bill. Now, what was it? So basically what we're looking at here is a continuation of decades of attacks on direct democracy in the state of Florida. Now, we have the ability to put amendments on the ballot and change our Constitution when the legislator isn't doing what the people want. Now, that process has been under attack since about 1968 when it was originally put in the Constitution. They keep making it harder, more expensive, and a lot more red tape. Last year, we saw unprecedented levels of attack and the weaponization of Florida's government using taxpayer dollars to fight the 2 citizen-led amendments that were on the ballot. Even with that, those amendments both got well over 55% of the vote, and they're still not law because we have a very restrictive 60% threshold. What this does, this bill is horrible. The League is currently suing on this in federal court alongside a bunch of other organizations because this functionally shuts down, it really attacks volunteer-led petition gathering in a way that nothing else has in the past. It was signed into law on May 2nd. It was effective on May 2nd, and also a lot of the provisions come into effect on July 1st. So this was an atrocious bill, but we as Floridians, they put up more hurdles, we'll become better jumpers, and we're still gonna put things on the ballot. Next slide. Now, I'm gonna move right into the good stuff now because that was enough bad stuff. We got plenty of bad right now. So first of things, when we see a government which is divided amongst itself, even though we've got a supermajority legislator and a governor of the same party, we actually saw a lot of infighting, and that meant we actually saw some good things happen too. One of which was they put into HB 1205 a measure that prohibits state funds from being able to be used for advertisements to campaign against amendments, which is what we had seen back in 2024. So that was actually a good thing in there. We also had some advocacy wins. There was an incredible coalition that came together to fight this citizen-led amendment bill, and there were wins in that. For example, the $1 million bond that was originally going to be put in place before petition collection could happen, that was removed from the bill entirely. Then they tried to put a limit saying that individual citizens could only collect 2 petitions outside of their own and other people's without registering with the state. We got that increased to 25 petitions, which still sucks, but it's better than 2. So we were able to actually have some wins and do some good things. Next slide, I'm going to tell you my favorite good thing that we did is that the Florida version of the SAVE Act died this legislative session. So this bill is a great example about how what we're seeing right now in our country is using immigrant rights and voting rights to play off each other and reduce everybody's rights. Because what this bill does is it would have required all voters, whether you're currently registered or you're a new voter, to have documentary proof of citizenship because America has a wonderful history of, making people prove that they are American enough by jumping through multiple hurdles in order to be able to vote. We have a very dark history with that. Bills like this are very dangerous. This bill also would have branded non-citizens like regular IDs with non-citizens. So every time they went to cash a check at Publix or check into a hotel or buy a beer, In our country, they would have had to have that scarlet letter on their ID, labeling them as a non-citizen at a time when we are seeing non-citizens being absolutely, scapegoated and demonized in our communities, regardless of, their status or their documentation in the country. So this bill really would have absolutely decimated the voter rolls in Florida. It would have been hundreds of thousands of people would have had a hard time staying on the voter rolls or getting on the voter rolls. And then when they got there, you know what it would have done? It would have said, reduce the number of IDs that you can use to vote at the polls. So removing student ID, public assistance ID, retirement center ID. An absolute attack. I don't think it's gone forever, but it died this year, and that's great because next slide, here's some great news. There are no changes to the voting rules in 2025. You can vote this year exactly like previous years. That is the first year that we've had that in a long time. So that is really good. No changes to voting rules in 2025. We also had movement on two amazing voting bills in 2025. I hope everybody has heard of the Harry T. and Harriet V. Moore Florida Voting Rights Act, which would reduce voter suppression, roll back bad laws, increase access to the ballot, and it was heard in committee for the first time ever in April 2025. It's an amazing bill. Almost everybody in the Democratic caucus co-sponsored it. It is going to come back next year, and we'll keep fighting until that vision of democracy and inclusion for voting in Florida is a reality. Another bill, which is a personal favorite because I did help draft it, was the Disaster-Affected Voter Bill of Rights. This bill actually builds on a lot of best practices from Pinellas County about how to help ensure that voters after a hurricane have what they need to make their voices heard. We worked with our very own Lindsay Cross here in Pinellas County to file this bill. Now, why that bill didn't get heard, several of the provisions were taken from the bill and put into a broader emergencies bill and made it all the way to the House floor until it was actually removed at the last minute. But it showed that there is bipartisan support for this kind of support to voters. So we're going to be back. We're already having meetings this year. We're going to be back next year and get that support to voters. Sometimes legislation takes multiple years, but this did a great job in its first year out. We're going to keep fighting for it. All right, 2 minutes left. Budget fight. Have you guys all heard that we actually finally have a budget, which is pretty exciting because even though we have a supermajority legislator and a governor, and they're all the same party, they still needed 45 extra days to do the one job that they actually are mandated to do, and that is to pass a budget for the state of Florida before July 1st, and the government would shut down. We have a $115 billion budget. We're now waiting on the governor's line item vetoes to see what he kicks out of the budget. Unfortunately, the budget doesn't do so much to help Floridians, but gives a whole lot of tax breaks to big corporations. However, one of the League's priorities over many years in the past has been to ensure that the Sadowski funding was actually going to affordable housing. That actually did happen, so minor good thing. But one of the biggest risks in our budget this year, and somebody else alluded to it earlier, is that our budget in Florida is about a third reliant on federal funding. Now, I like to call it the big bad bill that we're seeing at the federal level would severely impact the state of Florida because we rely so heavily on federal funding and because so many Floridians rely on this core support for their health care and their nutrition in our state. So if you haven't called your senator yet, let's do that now because that big bad bill has got to die. It is going to be absolutely horrific for Florida. Okay. Now I'm going to go, these are some highlights because honestly, the coalition of organizations working together in Tallahassee to pass good policy and all of your work, calling and fighting, it really does matter. So these are some actual good bills that were passed, and I can't even remotely read that. So let's see. All right, so we had our state parks were protected. We have protected Apalachicola Bay. We had two bills that were actually put forward by ally organizations of the League. The Florida Policy Institute put forward a bill that finally passed. That bill means that if you actually got certified to do a job while you were incarcerated, you actually stay certified when you're out so you can get a job with that certification. Isn't that wonderful, letting people actually return as citizens in our society? And we also had notario fraud, which was our friends at the Florida Immigrant Coalition, Jackie mentioned earlier, Flick, who we're hoping to work with on our immigration work. They actually passed a bill that will actually protect immigrants from being, from fraud from notary publics, which is actually happening quite a bit as they try to stabilize and legalize their paperwork. So that was some of the good bills that we did see passed. And here's even better, this is my favorite slide because we killed so much crap. It was great, like working together. I'm going to tell you, not only did no bad voting-specific bills passed, no bad LGBTQ bills passed this year, which is amazing. We killed so many things. Like there was, more book bans that they were trying to do. Killed that. They tried to kill like activism groups in schools. Tried to like make it harder for young people to access birth control and STI treatment. They tried to make it legal to carry guns on campus. They tried to make it legal to carry guns on campus. Dead. Nope. No more guns on campus. They also tried to roll back child labor protections. That's a fun one. They tried to roll back minimum wage protections. They tried to lower the age to buy a gun. They tried to do more union busting. They tried to preserve Confederate monuments and prevent them from being removed. I am way over, Amy, and I am really sorry, but we did a lot of good stuff to kill the bad and to promote the good, and that takes all of us working together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amy, for your hard work. Everybody go to Lobby Days next year. All right, I'm Sarah Peacock. I am the co-chair of the National Popular Vote Committee, and I'm here to talk to you about convention. So local leagues from across Florida come together in odd years at a biennial convention to do things like conduct business meetings, share ideas and approaches in workshops, report back on our new programs at our local leagues, network with members from across the state. It's really fun to meet members from all of the small and large leagues across Florida. Get updates on local fights to protect voters and elections and all the various ways that other leagues do that. And then in even-numbered years, the state leagues come together for a national convention. So this year we had a full delegation with 19 delegates. And I really want to thank everyone for coming and Amy's hard work to make sure our delegation was full. And we had the biggest delegation there. Yes. So stats from convention, we met members from leagues of all sizes. Many had only a handful of representatives. In comparison, our league had the largest delegation. Even though Orange County has roughly twice as many members, we were better represented at plenary with 19 voting delegates. During the process to get ready for convention, we had a prep Zoom call and a debrief Zoom call to maximize the benefits of attending. We had a lot of new attendees, and repeat attendees were able to work together with new people to make sure we all got the most out of the experience. We were able to decide who would attend which workshops. There were a lot on offer so that we could make sure we had a league member in every workshop to be able to bring that information back to our members. We hope that our structure and notes will be valuable in the future. We were able to have a WhatsApp conversation among all of our delegates. We had such a big delegation, we were spread across 3 tables for voting. And we hope that structure and those notes will be valuable in 2 years when our next delegation goes to be able to get the most out of that convention. For workshops, we were provided opportunities to learn what other local leagues have faced and overcome, what they've solved and reworked and improved. Some workshops addressed issues that our league doesn't currently have committees for, like gun safety. And most of these workshops were absolutely brilliant, and I think I can speak for all of us when I say that they left us feeling very enthusiastic about the work that we can accomplish. I'm ready to sign up for 17 more committees and lead everything, just like everybody in your ideas for social justice. It's very energizing to be around all of these people doing this hard work. If your committee would like a recap of a workshop, we may be able to speak at one of your monthly meetings. I also wanted to mention that members can attend the statewide action team meetings, even if you don't have a local league committee on the issue. So something like gun safety, if we don't have members who are able to give the time to start a committee, you can still tap into what's happening with other local leagues and stay on top of that work. You can see the wide variety of workshops available. In fact, we had 3 members that hosted a workshop from our league. So our president, Jackie Azis, along with Roshana Suri and Stacy Campo, hosted the Parent Power Advocacy Workshop, which informed convention attendees about the successes of our Parent Advocacy League and were very well received by members across the state who also wanted to overcome the barriers to involvement that parents in our communities faced. I also presented at the One Person, One Vote workshop on behalf of Floridians for National Popular Vote. I was part of a panel on National Popular Vote to discuss the Interstate Compact, which could ensure the president would be chosen by national popular vote without needing to amend the U.S. Constitution and without requiring approval of Congress. Join my committee, please. Plenary. So business meetings called plenaries provided a very authentic democratic experience. We used Robert's Rules of Order. We have a parliamentarian. Everyone is excited and frustrated and a little confused. And we had our roll call, counted delegates, sealed the room, and got to voting. Bylaws changes were passed, and the State League program was adopted, as well as a new board being elected. League roll call gave each league a couple of minutes for a brag reel to highlight their successes since the last convention in 2023. There were some very inspirational initiatives which didn't get a workshop on their own, but we took notes. So things like baddies at the polls and ballets for the ballots. By the way, the parents of new Florida League president Jessica Lowe Minor are in our St. Pete League. So Elizabeth and Terry Lowe, her very rightly proud parents. Jessica gave the most inspirational message of the entire convention, and we look forward to having her speak at one of our upcoming general meetings. So stay tuned for that. Yep, this is the new board with us. We also are very proud to announce that our league was the recipient of the President's Award for Excellence in Education for 2025. This couldn't have happened without the diligent efforts of our voter services team and their tireless work tabling, hosting candidate forums, delivering Speakers Bureau presentations, and bringing the most up-to-date information to voters across South Pinellas County. Our Voter Services Committee is the core of the work that we do, and we're so grateful for those who have set such a high standard of work for these last years, and those who are taking up the mantle to bring that work into an increasingly onerous future. I think that's all the convention highlights I have for you, but I would like to extend my gratitude to a few special people before I step down. Thank you to the membership, all of you, for helping fund our registration and defraying some of our travel expenses. It's, I think, part of why we were able to have such a large delegation, and it was a real blessing to be able to have such a good group of people. And special thanks to Sue Castleman, our treasurer, who found a way to expedite the reimbursement process, so all of our members were able to be reimbursed before we even left convention. It was absolutely seamless, and we appreciated that so much. And thank you to our delegates for offering all of your amazing time and energy to go to convention and represent us. So that is all for convention. I hope I'll see you all in 2027.
All right, we are at the end. I have really good news. We hear you, and we heard your feedback on the social justice team. And Lindsay Polega, our VP, is also an attorney, and she was like, I am not accepting this, that we have to wait till September to approve it. So we pulled out the bylaws, and it does have to be at an all-member meeting, but it doesn't have to be in person. So we're going to call in an emergency all-member meeting next week or the week after. Stay tuned. We got to work out the details here. But we hear you and the urgency of the moment. So we're going to respond to you all. Yes. So thank you for your feedback and letting us know that you agree about the urgency. So assuming the social justice team scores the 30 out of 50 points tonight on average, we will have an emergency online meeting in the next 2 weeks. So look in your emails and on our social for that. And with that, just a couple quick announcements. We can get back to meeting the team leads and the committees in the back for the tabling. Oh, and just so you know, this QR code, it will take you to the same link for every single one. So, and it will have all the information there. We have some exciting voter services events coming up. The next meeting is in July, and there's a voter registration training You have to do this and take the quiz to become certified to register voters. Next year is a midterm election. You're going to want to do this training so you can be out there with our voter services team doing the important work. So please join for that. We have some really exciting events coming up. This fundraiser is for the Tampa Bay Abortion Fund, and it is in a week and a half, Lindsay? I'm sorry, I can't see the dates from here, but it's a sip and paint. We only have a few seats left, so sign up for that tonight if you can. And then also, please come find us at the Pride Parade. We will be there as well with Planned Parenthood. So that's our reproductive rights updates. The next meeting is July 1st for our national popular vote. Sarah Peacock is here if you have any questions for her. She's the one who just presented about convention. Our education team, 2 exciting updates. The monthly meeting is June 30th, and our next in-person all-member meeting is going to be September 4th at Gibbs High School in the Grand Theater. We're going to hear from the superintendent of schools as well as a school board member. And as we mentioned earlier, we are continuing to lead and co-lead the protests that are happening every month in the St. Petersburg area. Please join us for the next one. I'm sorry, I can't see the date on that. Thank you. All right, good. You all can. Okay, my contacts are acting up. I'm sorry.
July, can you hear me? July 17 at 4:30. That's a Thursday evening, so it's a little different.
Thank you. And where are we? Membership committee. This is, if you like cocktails and conversations, which was one of our more popular member events, please join the membership committee team. The next one's at Casual Clam, really close to here, within 5 minutes of here. And there's, I'm really excited for this. We have heard you loud and clear about advocacy and wanting short-term projects. We are going to plan an Advocacy 201 workshop for you all sometime in the fall, so stay tuned. We all know you know Advocacy 101. We're gonna have an Advocacy 201 for you, where we will have short-term advocacy projects available to you at a meeting and a training. So look out for that. We're almost done here. Thank you so much for all of your generous donations. We ask that, you may have heard, National is now leading the dues portion. If you want to donate anything beyond the dues, please do it on our website directly, LWVSPA.org. It will save us so much time and so many resources, because otherwise it's a whole process. So we ask, you have to pay your dues to National League, but if you want to pay beyond the national dues, donate directly through our website. Okay, we have a really cool event. This is a boxing self-defense class that Lindsay Polega planned for us. And this is just to get some of that energy out and maybe some anger out that you have toward events happening in the world. So please join us, sign up. It's a locally owned St. Pete boxing gym. And helping the helpers, standing up for yourself while standing up for others. We are going to have 3 therapists talk to us online it's via Zoom, about how to take care of yourself while we are trying to take care of our community as well.
That's it, Jackie.
We did it, okay. That's it. Thank you all so much. And, turn in your matrix voting. That's the scoring. Shelley, you have something? Okay, name tags. If you had one made tonight, come get it from Shelley on the table. And please visit our committees and join our committees. Thank you all. We'll see you at the next event.